You are listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank, your partner in possible.
Welcome, everybody, to the Border War podcast on the Kansas City Sports Network. We're presented by 360 Vodka, and a Happy New Year to all our listeners out there. We appreciate you listening and watching where you get your podcast, the Border War podcast here on the Kansas City Sports Network. My name is Jarrett Sutton. I'm joined, as always, by Jeff Hawkins.
What's
Jeff,
up?
how we doing?
What's
Happy
up?
New Year.
Happy New Year, man. 2023 treating you pretty good, treating me pretty well. I mean,
it's been good. It's been a good start. It's a great time to be in Kansas City right now with everything going on with college basketball. Right. It's a lot of fun following the three teams here locally in Kansas City. Got a lot of excited fans. Kansas off to a great start here in league play, and they've gotten some tough games. I want to start first by saying we say every year that the Big 12 is one of the best leagues in college basketball. You know, it's consistent. This could be the year, actually, where I think that they are top to bottom, just deep as can be. Yeah. It's going to be a fun – and there's no night off in this league. And Kansas has seen that in their first three games, and they found 3 wins. Impressive win against West Virginia. I want to start where we left off. We talked about the Oklahoma State win, but I want to start with Texas Tech. Their first true game on the road in Big 12 play. Kevin McCullough's return to Lubbock drew a lot of attention from the Texas Tech fan base, which I thought he handled pretty well. And Kansas gets a really good win in a game that was a little bit back and forth. And Tech made a run, as we always see in road games in league play. DeJuan Harris was excellent from 3, 5 for 5 from 3. Great minutes from KJ Adams. Just a gritty win for Kansas on the road, and things that they win tough games on the road. This is why they win league championships. That's why they're a championship team. They find ways to win, and they find ways to win close games. That was a good win for them to start their road portion of the Big 12 calendar.
Yeah, and it's always kind of broken down into 2 starts of the Big 12 season. One, you want to make sure that you can come out and protect your home court, and then obviously you want to go out and be able to try to get a road win as well too. And they were able to do that in a hostile environment, in which a team like Texas Tech, they had all the hostility built up. Again, former player McCullough that was there, so I'm pretty sure they were amped up and ready for that. And they're a good team as well. So there's a lot of things that they had to play for. And like you said, it was an up and down game, went down to the wire, and that's what you got to expect when you talk about the Big 12 play. Doesn't matter if you're ranked, you're not ranked. It's going to be a tough environment when you're on the road, and for the Jayhawks to be able to come out and get a win on the road, I think that was huge for them.
Kansas hits 11 threes in this game, and 5 of those are from DeJuan. It just goes to show you DeJuan picking up the slack. It was a day where Grady was 1 of 5 from 3, Kevin 1 for 3 from 3. He kind of struggled from the field. Jalen hit a couple big threes, but he was 3 for 9. So you talk about efficiency. They needed every 3. They win by 3, and DeJuan hits 5 threes. So he's more than just a passer, and it was said on the broadcast too, which I thought was really interesting. When Fran Fraschilla said that Coach Self really is trying to force, the hand of DeJuan Harris to shoot threes in game, and he's a good shooter. He's a capable shooter, and he showed that in this game.
Yeah, and again, DeJuan, he knows how to shoot. He's just more of a facilitator. But kudos for him being able to pick up the slack. Like Grady was not hitting, McCullough was not hitting the way he normally is. And teams are going to play off. And I think DeJuan is, again, kudos to DeJuan again, because he's developed this. He's put in the work in the summer, whether it shows or not on the court, because he's a facilitator. It definitely showed the work that he's put in. I know he's put in that work with the shot, and it's obviously showed because he went 5 for 5 from 3. And that's not easy to go, whether you're a shooter or not a shooter. Going 5 for 5 from 3, that's no easy feat. And DeJuan showed that he has to be respected from 3 now.
Yeah, no question. I think for Kansas, they had such a great first half, shot the ball really well.
Yeah.
Tech was a little bit more aggressive in the second half, made their run. Points in the paint even across the board, 30-30, both teams. So there wasn't much discrepancy between these two teams in this game. I did find it interesting. I thought, for Kansas, so much is made of like foul calls in college basketball. And as I've told people, there are bad fouls in every game that you watch in college basketball. It's just part of it. And as you know, Jeff, life on the road, you're not going to. I mean, you're in close games. I just don't expect to get a call when you're on the road, right? Like it's not like so it shouldn't be a surprise or shock. I thought Kansas weathered the storm. They didn't get a couple calls in that game, and they still find a way to win. It just speaks to toughness of the Kansas program and of a lot of these guys, just DNA wise. They reflect Coach Self. I think that's where toughness, winning on the road is the best feeling.
Yeah, it is.
Especially
it is.
There's nothing better. This is one of those wins that Kevin O'Banner was really good for Texas Tech. He came on strong, and that I thought KJ really had some great moments in terms of just finishing and being around plays and just doing his job. So a good team win that I think for a first true road test, knowing how hostile it can be in Lubbock, they really answered the call there for a first win.
They did, you really spoke on KJ, and KJ did a really good job. KJ's development, he's starting to get more shots up now, which goes to show his aggressiveness, and you're going to need KJ to be aggressive. I know he does has a big feat as far as guarding the other team's big, but again, he can do it because of his size and his thickness. He can definitely do it. But, to see him starting to be more aggressive on the offensive end, I think that's going to be able to take the Jayhawks to another level while they're still trying to develop those young bigs that they have that are not getting the minutes.
Yep. It's funny if you look from where we were at with the Texas Tech game, the balance of first half scoring 42 points, second half scoring 30 points. It was very much the very similar halves Kansas played on the road when they went to West Virginia. 42 points in the first half, 34 points in the second half. Points in the paint, actually West Virginia was plus 6 points in the paint. Pretty balanced game overall. But I thought Kansas did a great job of getting to the free throw line, something they didn't do in the Texas Tech game. They got to the line. They shot it really well again from three. They hit 11 threes again in this game. DeJuan hits 3, Grady hits 4, Kevin and Jalen hit a couple. All 5 starters are in double figures. They're getting some good minutes from Bobby Pettiford. I think he is the first guy off the bench as that 6th man, and has given him good minutes. I thought Bobby played really well in the Texas Tech game. So the point is they're finding some consistency over the first 2 road games, and it showed in that West Virginia game of them shooting the ball well from 3. Difference being getting to the free throw line. They only shot 2 free throws in the Texas Tech game. They had to get to the line. And I thought they were better attacking downhill, not settling for jumpers as much. And their defense, again, was solid. West Virginia missed a lot of free throws, but, holding West Virginia 1-9 from 3 in the second half. They missed shots, but I thought Kansas defense was really good in the second half as well.
Yeah, and they, they were locked in for that game. And a lot of some of these guys as well, too, they were able to get that first road game out of the way. So it made things a lot easier. So, but they were just clicking on all levels. It started on the defensive end. They rebounded the ball well. And I think when you see the Jayhawks rebounding the ball well, that gives them a chance to be able to get out and run and have other opportunities as well too. And they were just clicking right from the get-go. And they just controlled the game right from the get-go. And that's good to see, especially when you can do that playing well-experienced coach in Bob Huggins.
Yep. As we transition, when we think about this team long-term, starting off league play 3-0, they're the number 1 team in the country right now. They're back in that 1 spot. They come home, they play Oklahoma. MJ Rice, we'll see what's going on there in terms of the injury when he gets back, in terms of the depth. But Joseph Yesufu played 15 minutes, 16 minutes in the West Virginia game. I think Bill Self is really ironing out. I think he already knows what that rotation is going to look like. If MJ can get healthy, I think they're going to try. They're going to give him every chance, But I think Coach Self's pretty comfortable. And look, Coach Self's not going to play guys he's not comfortable with. If they're not doing their job, he ain't going to play you. And he'll stick with 6 guys, 7 guys. He'll do that. There's no problem there, especially with how his starters have been playing. And they've got a great, rhythm going, these 5. And KJ's taken a huge leap forward. It feels like consistency, 14 points, in each of the last 2 games.
Yeah.
That's a big lift. That's a big lift for Kansas. You get 14 points, from your undersized 5, just finishing plays. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal. You'll live with that all day long. So I think this is what Kansas is going to be. And I think if MJ can give them a lift off the bench, but Bobby and Joseph and if Zuby can get some minutes and Zach, there are going to be some spot minutes here and there. But I think this is, the rotation is always something we talk about when we get into league play. And I already think Coach Self knows what that is already, of what it's going to look like.
Yeah, I hope he does. I mean, you know what you're going to get out of those 5 guys. Bobby comes in, gives some good minutes. And I still think, Zuby's still, learning some things as well, too. Zach's still trying to get his feet wet as well, too. You kind of know what you're going to get out of Bobby. Bobby's definitely, I think, out of those 3, even with Yesufu, been, I think, the most reliable for Coach Self. But there's going to come a time where one of those 5 starters are going to get in foul trouble. I mean, maybe I don't know. I'm just kind of how the game works, I'm no prophet, or I can't predict the future, but I think there will be a time where one of those guys get in foul trouble, and it's going to allow, Zach, Zuby to step up and get a little bit more minutes, because right now they're not getting as many reps in-game reps. They're getting practice reps, but they're not getting as many in-game reps, and I think that will change over time and give these guys confidence. But I think he's still tweaking with that part. But I think he definitely knows, his top 6, his top 7 that he really wants to work with right now. And if MJ can definitely get healthy, it's kind of dealing what Bobby was dealing with a little bit last year, just these nagging injuries. But if he can get through these injuries, obviously we see what has happened with Bobby when he's a little bit more healthy. I think MJ will be able to take off as well too. So I just think time will tell. But for now, I think what he's doing is working. Guys are locked in. You're getting those, like you say, you're getting those extra minutes from KJ and those extra points, not minutes, extra production. He's giving you those, 14 points. I mean, that's tough. That's big, which is allowing, those younger bigs to not I don't want to say be able to take their time and develop, but they get to develop at more of a slower pace than what probably most bigs do in Coach Self system, but they get to do it comfortably and knowing that KJ can kind of carry that load.
No question. As we look to the next games here for Kansas, they win 2 games on the road. They get 2 at home. They come home to play Oklahoma tomorrow. We're recording this on Monday, so they get Oklahoma on Tuesday, and then they get Iowa State on Saturday at home. Before then, they go to K-State the following Tuesday, which will be a blast in Manhattan for that first Kansas K-State matchup with how good K-State's been playing. But let's talk about
ugly.
That. Man, it's been impressive. Marquise Noel and Keontae Johnson have been, they've been as advertised. But let's dive into Oklahoma for a second. Looking back at their games, I mean, they've been in some battles. They lost by 1 to Texas right before the new year to start league play. They lost by 3 to Iowa State. I watched the final bit of that game. That was a really close down to the wire game that they lost. And then they bounced back and beat Texas Tech 68-63, which was a good win for them. Jalen Hill was really good. Mila Suzanne, who's a freshman, who is getting extended minutes now. He's played 37 minutes. He wasn't playing those type of minutes earlier in the year, but he's really kind of come on. Jacob Groves, Grant Sherfield is the name probably you would circle. Grant Sherfield can really score it. He can shoot it. He's a combo guard that plays point, but he's really a 2. And, man, if you don't pick him up, he can get hot. Yeah, he can just score in bunches and in waves, kind of a microwave scorer. A little bit undersized, but, man, he can go. And he can shoot the ball with extended range. He can shoot off the dribble. He can play and pick and roll. This is a team, again, like I said earlier, I mean, Big 12, I don't think there's any team you look at and be like, they should win this. I just think every game, you never know. I mean, look at Kansas fighting with Oklahoma State at home. That was a game I thought they'd probably handle. That was a heck of a game. That's just what you're going to get in Big 12
how
play.
it is.
Oh my gosh! And that's what's going to make this conference so much fun. Is every game's going to be fun to watch night in and night out.
Yeah, it's. I mean, you try to. I mean, you look at this Oklahoma team. You're just like, I mean, man, they have every right and every chance to even come in a tough environment in the field house and still win. I mean, it's the Big 12. Anything can happen. You've just mentioned it. We will say that we live by that. If you played in the Big 12, you live by that, and you know it. Like, hey, anything can happen. It's like Vegas. Anything can happen. But the cool thing about it is, this is going to be a fun game. Jayhawks are going to be up and ready for this. Again, this is a team that's right now starting to play with a lot of poise, and show a lot of maturity. And this is the defending national championship team, so I think they're going to be geeked up and ready for this. They're starting to show that, they're taking each game step by step, one game at a time, and it's starting to show in their production. But this is going to be a hard out fight. Oklahoma is a well-coached team. They get after it. You just talk about the overtime loss to Tech. I mean, excuse me, the overtime win to Tech, or excuse me, loss.
No, they beat Tech.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Oh, my bad.
You're
overtime
good.
win. There we go.
Yep.
I'm looking at the wrong thing. Sorry, my eyes are two different places. But this is a team that is going to take you down to the wire. They're going to come in geeked, and anytime you play the Jayhawks, you're going to be fired up because all eyes are watching anyway. So this is going to be a hard fought game, and it's going to be fun to watch because both teams are going to be well coached and well prepared for this game.
Yep. Oklahoma usually has a rotation of about 7. I go back to that Iowa State game where they lost by 3, and it was a competitive game, and Milo Suzanne and Grant Sherfield each had 4 points apiece. Usually that's not going to be Oklahoma's stat line. Tanner Groves and Jalen Hill were really good. And Jalen Hill is kind of sneaky where he's capable of having a 20-8 game. He's been a little inconsistent up and down. And Tanner Groves is an older player that's been around, that, Big 12 fans know he can have a good night as well and be in that same conversation. So, it's in the field house. It's a home environment. And as we know, you got to take care of your home court in this league. And as we've seen around the league, this league is so good. There's going to be some games where the home team doesn't come out on top that you would expect in league play. And that's what makes this league so I think it's different than years past. I just looking at these teams and seeing what K-State did at Texas and at Baylor, and I just feel like, night in and night out, you never know who's going to be able to sneak one on the road. And that's going to make a big, big difference come late February, early March, when we're talking about that Big 12 champion.
We just beat each other up in the Big 12. That's
right.
Everybody beats each other up again, but because of that, again, that's what makes the league so tough and competitive, because we just beat each other up.
Yep. It never disappoints either. Never disappoints.
No.
So it makes it fun. Yeah. It's frustrating, but it also helps you, I think NCAA tournament wise and seeding, and that's what it all comes down to.
I just hope we got to make sure Big 12 shows up in this tournament and just rocks it out. I want everybody in the Big 12 to.
That's how it always goes.
Right. Yes.
You want to beat up on each other. You want to beat each other, and then all of a sudden you get into league play, and then you're pulling for everyone to represent the conference in the best way they can. So some good games ahead. Kansas is off to a great start, 3-0. The consistency across the board, really, with their starters and seeing some production from their bench.
Yeah.
Found ways to win 2 road games, and here they are with 2 home games. It's some big games ahead. So we'll have a lot to cover. Jeff, again, Happy New Year. Good luck with your Raiders here as you continue into your season, and we'll talk next week.
You bet.